Okay, hello everyone, welcome. So for those of you who may or may not be familiar with Zoom, for this presentation, your video and audio will be turned off. You'll just be able to see the presentation that I'm giving as well as my video. So if at any point throughout the video you have any questions or comments, feel free to use the Q&A feature, which you can find at the menu in the bottom of your screen. And at the end of this presentation, I'll go back through all the questions and answer anything that any of you may have. All right, so let's get started. So hi, thank you for joining us this evening. Today we're going to be talking about the Village of Lima's new Clean Energy Choices CCA and Community Solar programs. So my name is Shannon Bellamy, and I'm joined by Margie Pete, Ben Freevert, Melissa Carlson, and Sienna Prieto, sorry. We are from Rocktricity. We are a local program manager for CCA, and we are partnered with Juul Community Power. So let's talk a little bit about this program. So we're very happy to announce that the Village of Lima, in partnership with Juul Community Power, is launching a brand new CCA program. The village has selected a 100% renewable New York State generated electricity program, which will be launching in the Village of Lima in September 2021. To do this, the village has passed a local law, held public hearings, and went through a competitive bidding process to create an electricity supply program that benefits all of you. So let's talk about it. Oh, before we get started, I did want to mention that all of this information that we're going to be covering will be sent to you in the form of a letter. So here's an example of what that letter will look like. Just know that it will come on the Village of Lima letterhead. You'll have the village seal, and it will be signed and sealed, so that you know that's an official letter regarding the town's program. So we'll talk about these letters more in a bit, but just know that you will be receiving this information again. So a quick overview. What we're going to be talking about tonight is, first of all, what is community choice aggregation? Next, we'll talk about some of the benefits associated with these programs, as well as the specific electricity supply details as a result of the recent contract. Next, we'll talk about the Community Choice Solar Program and the details regarding that. And then we can get a little bit into how CCA will affect you and what might change on your national grid bills once this program launches. And then finally, we'll talk about the ways to opt out if for any reason you're not interested in participating in one of these programs. And then at the very end, we'll talk about next steps and what you can expect to see in the coming weeks. So what is community choice aggregation? Community choice aggregation, or CCA, is an energy purchase program which was created and authorized by the New York State Public Service Commission back in April of 2016. So the state has created and authorized this program, and there are several rules and regulations by the state in place to ensure that these programs run smoothly. CCA allows municipalities to aggregate energy demand and negotiate bulk purchase. So this means that by pooling together all of the residents of the Village of Lima, they were able to go through a competitive bid process to get the best electricity supply contract for their residents, which is you. Finally, all eligible energy customers may participate, but some are automatically enrolled in the program, and some must opt in based on their service classification. So this is known as opt-out treatment, which means that everyone will be enrolled unless they don't qualify. But don't worry, we'll be talking about all the different ways to easily, simply, quickly opt out if you're not interested at the end of this presentation. So community choice aggregation has two different components. There's the community choice electricity supply and the community solar. So the electricity supply portion allows municipalities to select their electricity source from local New York State generation sources. This part of the program helps to secure the residents a fixed electricity supply rate, which is helpful for a multiple of reasons, and we'll get into that in a second. But the second part of the program is a community solar program, which allows the utility to purchase electricity generated from solar farms for the amount that residents typically use. And in return, the residents get a savings in the form of solar credits, which they'll see on their national grid bill. This is helpful as it saves people money and it helps support local solar farms. But we can talk about more of that in a second. So your options, like I said, there's two different parts of the program, but you have different options of what you can and want to participate in. So first, you could participate in the community choice electricity supply only. Just do the 100% renewable electricity supply. Or you could participate in the community choice solar only. So instead of doing the electricity supply, you would only receive the solar credits as a benefit to your bill. The third option is that you could participate in both the 100% renewable electricity supply and the community solar program. And then, of course, the fourth option is you could participate in neither. You could choose to opt out of both programs and you'll never notice any change on your bill. So what are the benefits of CCA? Why did the Village of Lima decide to move forward with this program? So there's a few different reasons. First, let's talk a little bit about the energy market. So as you can see from this visual here on the left, the energy market, the electricity supply that is purchased by National Grid to give to its customers, is highly variable. The electricity supply market changes every day, and it's hard to predict for customers what the price is going to be from day to day and from bill to bill. The CCA allows customers or residents to receive a fixed electricity supply rate, which is helpful because it allows predictability as well as stability, which is a huge benefit. Additionally, leverage bulk buying strategy through aggregation. So like we talked about before, by pooling all of the residents' buying power together, the Village of Lima was able to go through a competitive bid process to get the best option out there at a rate that is much lower than what a single customer could get if they were to go out and buy 100% renewably generated electricity on their own. And we'll talk about those prices here in a second. Next, it enables local selection of energy offerings. Instead of allowing National Grid to purchase the electricity for you, the village has gone ahead and taken this responsibility, ensuring that they have more control over what happens locally versus just allowing the utility to do it. And next, it also promotes renewable energy, which is another huge benefit of this program. So what are the other benefits? So with the community choice electricity supply, like we talked about, there's access to more affordably priced 100% New York State generated renewable electricity, as well as reduced price volatility through the fixed rate that is offered through this program. And then with the community choice renewables for the solar program, there's a guaranteed savings in the form of solar credits. So there will be guaranteed savings on the bill if you participate in that program. Additionally, there's a level of customer protections from consultant negotiated terms and conditions. So instead of you having to go out and individually sign a contract with an electricity supplier, the municipality has taken this on themselves, which means there's no risk to you. You can opt in or out whenever you want. You don't have to worry about signing any contracts yourself. Another huge benefit is you'll only receive one bill. It'll still be your National Grid bill. The electricity supply and solar credits will both appear on your bill as you get it, with only minor changes, which I'll show you in a moment. And then another huge benefit is funding. There's several different ways of receiving local funding by participating in this program for the Village of Lima to receive money. So one would be Jewel, the company that we work with, their Giving Back program, which provides money to the Village of Lima for participation in these programs, which goes towards a sustainability program that the Village of Lima selects themselves. And also by participating in these clean energy programs, there's several different opportunities for state funding to be provided in the form of grants, which the Village of Lima can pursue now that they're participating in these programs. So let's talk about the specific contract. So like I said, there was a competitive bid process. The Village of Lima went out to look for a good electricity contract for its residents, and the winner of the bid was Constellation New Energy. And so the contract that the city or the village has signed is a 24-month contract, which will begin in September and go until August of 2 years from now. And the prices, as you can see on this table, for most of you, for residents, will be 5.921 cents per kilowatt hour. and that's a fixed rate, and that'll be for 100% New York State renewable electricity. Or there's also an option to opt down to the standard or fossil fuel generated electricity at a rate of 4.960 cents per kilowatt hour. So as we talked about before, these rates are highly competitive because of that ability to aggregate the residents' buying power. So that 5.912 cents per kilowatt hour, that price is much lower than what an individual would pay if they were to go out on the electricity market and try to find the same offer themselves. A 100% New York State renewable supply for a 24-month contract with no cancellation or exit fees and a fixed rate. That's very hard to find. And so that's a huge benefit that the Village of Lima was able to secure and provide to you all. So the other aspect is the community solar portion. So if you participate in the community solar program, you'll receive credits on your national grid bill from one of 6 solar projects. These solar credits will be provided at a 10% discount, which guarantees savings. And by doing that, you'll also, like I said, support the Village of Lima's sustainability efforts by receiving Juul's Giving Back program funding. And there's also, it's important to note that you'll also get an additional letter in the mail after the opt-out letter, which we'll talk about. This additional letter will let you know which solar project you're subscribed to and when that will go live. So when you can expect to see those credits on your bill. And that'll come later in the summer after the opt-out letters. So like I said, there's 6 different solar farms you could be subscribed to. And when that participation begins depends on the solar farm. So all of these are either existing now or being built. So you can see when approximately the estimated solar credits would start showing up. So if you were on the Ridgeway project, then you might see credits as early as September. But if you were assigned to the Finney project, it wouldn't be until February of next year where you'd start seeing those credits. So there's a little bit of change there. So just expect that when these letters start coming out, that they may be slightly different from your neighbor or one of your friends participating. It just depends on that allocation. So how will the CCA affect me? That's a really important question. You're at this meeting, you want to know what it's going to look like. So residents and small businesses with National Grid utility accounts will be automatically enrolled. So you're included if you live within the Village of Lima and you do not have a block on your National Grid account. And so that's the basic eligibility. If you meet those requirements, then you are eligible. But for the electricity supply portion specifically, you have to make sure that you do not have an ESCO, no supply, no other third-party supplier. You get your supply from National Grid, and you're not participating in any utility assistance programs. Then for the community solar, you're eligible as long as you don't have rooftop solar or any solar on your property, and you're not already participating in another community solar program. So that's the eligibility for those. And that'll also be included in the opt-out letters. You'll receive the one that relates to how you are eligible. So let's talk about the changes. How will it impact your bill? So let's look at an example National Grid bill here on the left, which you've probably seen before. So looking at this, you see that there are delivery services and supply services. So the delivery services up here at the top, this will not change. This is the same. Based on New York State laws, this is the portion of the bill that National Grid is actually able to make money off of. Whereas supply services, they're not legally allowed to benefit and to make extra income from this. So this is the part that will be changing. So electricity supply impacts the source of the electricity, so supply services. So your supplier for the source of the electricity will no longer be National Grid. It will instead be Constellation New Energy. There will be no impact on delivery services. All of your maintenance, the wires, everything, your bill will still come from National Grid. They're still doing everything as normal. It's just who you're purchasing the supply from that changes. And then for community solar down here at the bottom and towards the bottom of your bill, there will be other charges. And you'll see something called a transfer credit charges, and you'll see a negative value. And so that's the saving for the solar credits. That's how much you saved with solar credits from that billing period. And then this supply services will actually go away altogether. Instead, they'll just be a smaller message, a smaller line item on your bill that mentions the new supplier constellation and the charges associated with that, with the fixed rate that we talked about earlier. So if you want to opt out, if you choose not to participate for any reason, you have a multitude of ways to do that. We want to make it as simple and easy as possible. So the first and easiest way to opt out is to respond to the opt-out letter that you'll receive in the mail in the coming weeks. And for that, you just sign the card and return it using the already pre-addressed and stamped envelope that it'll come with. Or you could call us, my company at Rocktricity, at 585-244-0244, and we can help you to opt out. Or you can go to the Finger Lakes Community Choice website and just fill out the enrollment change form. And so opting out looks a little differently depending on which program you're eligible for. So for example, if you're eligible for the electricity supply only, this will be attached to your opt-out letter. You'll have a opt-out reply card, which I was talking about earlier. If you do not wish to participate in the supply program, then you just sign this and send it right back before the deadline, and you will never see any changes on your account. You'll be automatically opted out. But if you were eligible for the community solar, it's the exact same, but this will talk about community solar only. And if you are eligible for both solar and electricity supply, then you'll have both options on your card. It's important that you're only checking the boxes for the programs that you do not want to participate in. So you do not have to check both. If you want to participate in one and not the other, just make sure you're only checking the ones that you do not want to participate in. And if for some reason you lose your card or would prefer to talk to one of us or go to the website, just make sure that you take note of this pre-enrollment ID number, because that's the number that we'll need to opt you out. And if you lose your card and lose that number, just have your national grid bill handy, because there's a number on there that we'll need in order to opt you out smoothly. So next steps. What you can expect coming up is to see those welcome and opt-out letters like we were just talking about. Those will arrive around June 29th. And once you receive that, there'll be a 30-day period for people to opt out. If you don't opt out in that time period, you're still eligible to opt out at any time. But just note that if we do not receive those cards in time, then you will be enrolled and you'll have to wait the next billing period until you can get that taken off of your account, just because it depends on your meter read, which occurs once a month or once per billing cycle. So just if you're not interested in participating, do your best to opt out before that deadline if you never want to see any of these changes on your bill. Also, if you just have no interest in participating, you can put a block on your National Grid account. And to do that, just call them and tell them you'd like a block on your account. Or you can just opt out through the program. Both are easy options. But so if you stay in the programs and you're interested in continuing, the program rate will show up on your National Grid bill starting after September 1st. And that will have, like I said, the new energy supplier listed constellation. And then solar credits will start appearing on your bill in either late 2021 or early 2022, depending on which solar farm you're assigned to, like we talked about earlier. So you can expect to see those. And like I said, you will get a second letter regarding your solar farm enrollment in the future that'll tell you all of that information again. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. If you have any additional questions, you can always check out our website at fingerlakescommunitychoice.com or our Facebook page, Finger Lakes Community Choice. Or you can contact me at Rocktricity or any of my coworkers at 585-244-0244 or by emailing info@fingerlakescommunitychoice.com. Those are all ways that we can help talk you through these. Maybe we can evaluate your options. We're happy to help and work through this with you or help to opt you out. But that's all we have. If there's any questions or if you have any questions right now, feel free to put them in the Q&A section. But do we have any questions currently?
No, Shannon, there aren't any questions been submitted. So
great. Well, like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to check out our website or call us. We are here and happy to help. So enjoy your evenings.